put your phone switched off, okay, or put it in a vibration mode, put it in silent. Don't get distracted by phones, okay, because you might miss few points which you should not at this point of time, right? So can I get a confirmation on that, that everything is in place? Okay, and take notes. A lot of pointers will be told to you all, where it would be important for you for future references also. So wherever possible, whenever you need, take notes, right? And stay completely focused. Don't get distracted for this wonderful 2 hours. Okay, so the kind of knowledge what you're going to get here, it is going to be amazing. Okay, it will blow off your mind for sure, right? So all ready to listen to the speaker and to know who's today's the speaker who's going to take the session. All ready? Yes. Okay. See, now he's right. So is the he. Okay. No, he's somebody who's very, very, very special for me. Okay. Because he is the person, from the time I've started the business. Okay. It's almost 8 to 9 years now, right? Now he's somebody who has been there with me even today, who's standing beside me, right? To talk about his corporate avatar. Okay. 22 years of corporate experience is what he carries. Guys, 22 years. Okay. 22 years of knowledge, right? In various industries, manufacturing, telecom, IT, consulting, right? In various industries. And in his last company, he was the CEO of a consulting firm, right? So most of us who are here, who have been in corporates and who are in corporates, CEO is the position where we all aspire to be, correct? No, he has seen that as well, right? So imagine the kind of knowledge he would be carrying and then the kind of expertise he would be carrying, right? But that is not the reason why he is here today, okay? Started off business 12 years back, okay, 12 plus years into the business, okay, has a massive organization today, okay? And once he started this business, okay, he was very clear what he wants to set up here long term. In just 2 years, he quit his CEO position and got into this business completely full time, right? And he could do that in 1.5 to 2 years. So imagine the kind of effort he would have put in this 2 years, where he could replace his salary, a CEO salary. Okay, that's how he is. Okay, build massive organizations globally, right? Today he is in a semi-retired stage. Okay, and not only he grew, he also was the reason for many leaders in his organization to grow as well. Okay, he always believed in growing together. Okay, that's how he is, right? Now, for me personally, okay, he's man of facts and figures, right? Now, I am usually a person who's not very emotional thinker. I'm a logical thinker. Okay. So whenever I have any queries or any doubts and I go to him, he gives me logical answers with facts and figures. So after that, that question doesn't pop up in my mind at all. So that is the kind of person he is, right? He doesn't give you generic answers at all. Okay. Man of knowledge. He's actually, for me, he's ocean full of knowledge. He's like that. Okay. Now, a lot of people feel that introverts cannot do this business. Okay. I don't have a lot of contacts. I don't talk to a lot of people. So how can I do this business? He has broken all the records. Okay. Man of few words. Okay. His smile will tell you everything. Okay. He only talks wherever necessity is there. But he has built this business in such a way that, okay, even a person who talks a lot will fall short, okay, in front of him. Okay, so he's completely broken the records where they say that introverts cannot build this business, right? Now he is such a kind of a person. Okay, man with facts and figures. You go to him with any industry questions, not even related to this business. You ask him any questions, he will talk to you with figures, okay, with facts. Okay, and after that you will not have anything to ask him again. So that's the kind of a person he is. Personally, for me, he's been somebody who's always been there with me. Okay, and he's my go-to person. Okay, whenever obviously I do have ups and downs, thoughts in respect to thoughts throughout my journey, and he's somebody who I immediately pick up the phone, I talk, and talking to him for 15 minutes, 10 minutes to 15 minutes.
You're all on mute and you cannot speak. There is a reason for that, and That is that today's session is going to be a monologue. I recognize some faces who were attending a similar session I took last week, right? So it's going to be a monologue. Basically, I'm going to be talking and you're going to be listening. Of course, if you have any questions, concerns, right, you could probably have a chat with your uplines, respective uplines, and get whatever clarity you need, right? So great. Now, before I begin and start talking to you about whatever I'm going to talk to you about, just want to mention something. I also, like you, one day, saw and heard this for the first time, and till then business was good. I mean, were doing well, had the belief, had started seeing results, and I saw the session much later. We didn't have the kind of processes, etc., systems that we have in place today, right? When I started in the business about over a decade ago. Of course, whatever we have now is a result of all the learnings from the past. You know, VP Sachin's 14 years in the business, and things are a lot more structured now than they were when I started. So I saw this session several months, maybe, yeah, several months after I had started. And some of the things that I understood completely changed my thought process in how I looked at other businesses, other jobs. Uh, Whatever I'm going to talk to you about today is not anything new that you would not know, but it is probably something that you are not thinking about or correlating to this business. You getting me? Whatever, I'm not going to tell you anything that is not there somewhere in the back of your mind. The idea is to bring it out, is to bring it to the forefront, right? So that you're able to understand exactly how this business can sort of fit into our day-to-day lives and how it compares with what the options we have today, right? So that is something that I'm going to try and bring out for everybody. Now, Farhana was talking about me. I'm a pretty ordinary guy who probably just got lucky somewhere along the way, right? I have overall not 22 but 25 years of work experience, and I quit my job about 10 years ago. So I have 15 years of corporate experience. If I add the other 10 years in QNET, it becomes 25. And when I left my last job, when I left my corporate career, I was working as the CEO of a management consulting firm. And what we were essentially doing was we were helping very large organizations reduce cost. Large organizations, right? And I left my job because I had started this business, and for 2 years I did the business and the job together. It was not easy. It was very difficult actually, but I knew that if I don't do it, I will never get out of the job. And I was very clear after a point that I didn't want to be in a job forever for many reasons. We can save that for a different setting, for a different session, maybe someday. Today's agenda is different. So just wanted to share a little bit about myself before we begin. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to take you through a presentation, right? It's not going to be me talking the way I am talking to you right now. I'm going to share a presentation with you, and I'm going to walk you through a couple of things, couple of concepts that you need to know, right? Now, typically what happens in life is there are multiple schools of thought that are there, right? One school of thought, or how people are brought up, and it's because of the value system. I'm not commenting on what is right or what is wrong. Okay, so please understand what I'm trying to say here. This is not a judgment on this is the right way, that is the wrong way, or any of that. There are typically two schools of thought that we all grow up with, right? One, and that's the one I came from, where you grow up believing that the job is the ultimate goal, right? Because our parents were in jobs, their parents were in jobs. This is what we have seen all our lives. So it is a kind of a value system that we grow up in. Samaj se bhi wahi sunte hain. Everywhere, it's all about jobs. So you study very hard in school, so that you can go to a good college. You study very hard in college so that you can go probably do your masters or whatever, so that one day you can get that ultimate job, right? The day you are, you get into a good brand, your life is going to be set. This is what we grow up believing, right? Study hard, get a job, which is safe, secure, and so on. There is another school of thought, right, which says that come what may, naukri to nahi karenge. We're going to be business owners. We're going to be doing business of our own, right? Because I want to be my own boss. I can't work for somebody else. Now, what most people don't realize is that most businesses are also like jobs. You might be doing it for yourself, but at the end of the day, the nature of the work is very similar to that of a job, right? Because it essentially involves giving your time, energy, effort, skill to earn money, which is exactly what you're doing in a job as well, right? So in a job, can you afford to fall sick? You cannot. But ask most businesses, can they afford to fall sick without their income taking a hit? They'll say, no, we cannot. Right? So in a sense, and I will talk more about this as we go on, in a sense, most businesses are also like jobs. Whether they're sick, whether they're on holiday, they're 24/7 on the job, working. Whether it is physically or virtually doesn't matter, right? Because their incomes are completely dependent on them. When you're in a job and you're getting a salary, you're getting that salary because you're giving something to employer, correct? You're giving your skill, you're giving your time, you're putting in the effort, you're doing well and you're working hard. That is what your employer is buying from you at a certain price that has been decided at the beginning of the year. Correct? Imagine, right? We agree on a certain compensation at the start of the year, with zero control on what is going to happen to expenses around us for the rest of the year. You see how, I mean, you ask me, if you think about it, it's like, yeah, it's a ridiculous thought. I'm telling you today, give me this much money, but I don't know how expensive things might become. So what you're giving me today might look good, but 6 months later, the story might be very different. So in a typical job scenario, we agree to it. Most businesses are not different, right? Where also the income is going to come as long as we are putting in the effort to giving our skill and doing whatever it is that we need to do. Right? That's a very important thing to understand, and that is what one of the things that I'm going to bring out for everybody today. Right now, while I was in a job, I changed 4 industries. I started my career with manufacturing. I went on to telecom. Then I was in IT for a very long time. Not a very long time, so for several years. I worked with a few large organizations and, got an opportunity, joined this management consulting firm where, I saw the maximum growth in my corporate career in my last job, because that is probably the only job that I really enjoyed. That's the only work that I really enjoyed. So I applied myself, I gave my 100%. And I guess I saw the results because of that. But while everything was good, I was making very good money in my salary, right? Even by today's standards, I'm talking about 10 years ago. Even by today's standards, that was very good money. But over a period of time, I was starting to realize that, if something happens to me and if my income were to stop for 2 months, it would be disastrous, right? Because as your lifestyle goes up, when you make more money, what happens? Your lifestyle goes up. You get a nicer car, you maybe make some investments. Real estate is something that everybody wants to invest in. You invest in the markets, you start wearing nicer clothes, you start going to nicer hotels, your holidays become more expensive, everything goes up, right? It's a change in lifestyle. That's what happens. And I had never thought about this before, but one day it hit me. I'm like, what if my income were to stop tomorrow for 2 months? How long can I survive with whatever I have built without altering my lifestyle? How long can I do that? Right? Will I start having to, how much longer would it be before I start making compromises on my lifestyle? That no, let's stop this, let's stop that, etc. When you think about it, it was a bit of a scary situation. I don't know what the story is for most of you here or all of you here, but it's a very important question that one needs to ask. That tomorrow, if our income stops, how long can we go on without changing our lifestyle at all? Can we continue living the same life? Or will the stress of not having an inflow drive us totally insane. Now, one of the primary reasons, I had many reasons to start and then do the business, but one of the primary reasons was that I felt that I did not have any time or control over my life. Because in a job, what happens is that the higher you go, the worse it tends to get. Yes, you make more money, your ego gets fed because your designation becomes nicer and people around you think that you're doing extremely well. But I had no time at all for anything that was important for me. And that is something that had started to bother me, because by then I had a daughter at that point. She was about a year and a half old. And I could not imagine that I will have to live this life for the rest of my life, because I used to travel about 3 weeks in a month. I was always away, either in some city or some country. Life was like that because we were doing really well as an organization. And I had to fuel the growth. I had to be everywhere all at once. And it was just crazy. And I realized that this life is not sustainable. Initially, you love it, right? You're always at some hotel, or, you're traveling from one city to another. Your friends think that, oh my God, you're so successful. You're always on the move. Somehow, a lot of travel is equated to success. I don't know why, but a lot of people have that impression. So on the outside, it looks very nice, and you also enjoy it, right? It gives you this feeling that, oh, I've arrived in life. But you try doing that for 6 months, and then you'll realize that that's not how it's supposed to be. It's not easy at all, right? So those are some of the reasons that I started the business. And my objective, like I was sharing with you today, is to show you how QNET can compare to the other options that we have in life, so that we can truly understand and appreciate where we are and what we need to do, if at all we need to do something. Because some of you may decide that, no, I'm very happy the way I am, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? That's what I said in the beginning. I'm not here to tell you what is right or what is wrong. I'm just here to help you understand what all we can do in life, what are the different options that we may have, right? So let's look at the slide over here. What is this slide, right? If you notice that there is this blue line in the middle, there is a plus and there is a minus. The blue line is our net worth, right? Net worth means what are we worth? I mean, financially, right? What are we worth? So if I have 100 rupees in my bank account and I don't owe money to anybody, I have a positive net worth. That means I own more than I owe. मेरे को किसी को देना नहीं है, मेरे पास है. Right? So it's called a positive net worth. If I have 100 rupees of credit card bills and nothing in my bank account, or I don't have any assets in my name, I don't have a car, I don't have whatever, a house, nothing, then my net worth is negative, which means that I owe more money than I own. Money or wealth, whichever way you want to look at, right? You may not have cash at bank, but you have 5 properties, right? That's wealth, correct? So that's what we mean by saying positive or negative. Now, if I were to talk about myself, when I started my career, my net worth was neutral, because nothing, I owned nothing. Everything was obviously in my parents' name and so on. I myself owned nothing. Whatever I had was given to me, like it is for all of us, right? When we finish college, etc., most of us, unless there is a big inheritance that has already come our way, most of us are zero net worth, correct? It's not positive, not negative. So what happened was, at the start of every month, I would get my salary. So if you see this little thing that went up, my net worth was positive, right? Because now I have money in the bank. But before the month was over, right? Before the month was over, it would be zero, because typically by 10th or 15th of the month, whatever money I had in terms of salary would go away, correct? So now I'm back to scratch. Then next month, again, it would go up because I would get salary, and again, it would go down, up, down, up, down. This cycle continued for a fairly long time, right? It continues like that for all of us for a very long time. So this whole thing kept going on and on. After some point, what happened? I remember my parents telling me, and I also was thinking about it, that typically what do we do when you have a decent job, you're making decent money, nothing great. At some point, what do we decide to do? We need to have a vehicle, right? So what did I do? I went and bought a car. Now, how did I buy the car? Did I have money in my bank account? No, I didn't have money in my bank account. So I did what all of us or most of us will do, which is I went to a bank and I borrowed money. Now, the moment I borrowed money, what happened? I may have got the car, but my net worth went zero because, this car is not owned by me. This car is owned by the bank, right? So if anybody here buys a car on loan and if you think that car is yours, skip 3 EMIs, you'll find out who the real owner of the car is. Okay, it's not us. We are being allowed to drive that car till the time we can pay our EMIs. The moment you skip 3 EMIs, they'll come and impound your car, right? So what happened the moment I got my car? My net worth went down to negative because I owe more than I own. Okay, so net worth came crashing down. Now at the start of the month, what happened? I would get more money, but the liability loan is big, right? So it would go up, right? But obviously I still owed a lot of money. So it would go up, and before the month was over, because now I had an additional big EMI to pay, this cycle started to continue for a while. Okay, every month it continued and went on and on and on. Now what typically happens, when you have, like I said, a decent job. Sorry, somebody is using a whiteboard. Okay. So what happens after a point? What do we do? Typical, value system that we were brought up with. One day my mom calls and tells me, देखो, गाड़ी वाड़ी तो तुमने ले लिया, सब ठीक है, but घर भी तो खरीदना है ना. You have to have a house in your name, right? Again, right? This is what we have learned from our ancestors, correct? So what did I do? I said, okay, fine, I will buy a house. And of course, my parents were kind enough to loan me the money for down payment, right? And I did what most of us will do, which is go to a bank and borrow money to buy the house, right? So what happened to my net worth? What was here, right? I had reached this level, if you can see. Now my net worth has gone further down because now I owe even more money to outsiders, to third parties, correct? So my net worth has further gone down. Now at the start of every month, it would go up a bit because my money, I would get my salary. But now by 15th of the month, it would be gone because first my my car EMI would go, then my home loan EMI would go, then I had credit card bills to pay. So now I was officially living a life of rotation. I learned the concept of rotating, right? So you will receive money by the 7th, and by the time you pay all the bills from the previous month, in the next 3-4 days, your bank account is again back to zero, correct? So this is how most of us, right, survive and live our lives. So bahar se everything looks good, but andar se batwa khali hota hai, right? We are all too used to the plastic that we carry in our wallets, right? Credit card. So again, the saga continued for several months and years and years and years, correct? To a point where typically what happens, now this is where things started to change. So I'm not going to give my example here, right? So things started to change over here. But typically what happens to the average person? The average person will do this, work, very hard, go to office, come back home, go to office, come back home, go to office, come back home. And in that period, we will take whatever comes our way, right? Your boss doesn't like you, putting too much pressure on you. Even, every year we're working harder and harder and spending less and less time with our families, with the people that we love and care about the most. Why? Because we have liabilities. There are 10 other liabilities that I'm not writing over here because this is just to give you an idea of what is the average person's story, right? And I was no different from this average person, right? So typically we will do this for 20, 30 years of our lives. Typically home loan is what, 20 years or 25 years? So 25 odd years, we will do whatever it takes. Whether we like it or not, we will do whatever it takes. And in the process, constantly there is this desire to look for the better job, to look for the higher paying job, etc. Whether it is something that we really, whether it is from an industry that we are passionate about or enjoy is not the primary question. The primary question is how much money can I make over there? So if a finance guy gets an opportunity to move to operations, you double his salary, he'll forget finance overnight. Because the end goal is to make more money, right? Most people are like, I'm not saying all, but most people are like that because it is not enough today. In this day and age, it is just not enough. There is a gap between where we are to where we want to be. And unfortunately, that gap gets wider and wider Because our expenses increase faster than our income does. It's very simple, right? So I would have obviously continued to live the same life, and one day I would have repaid my home loan and my car loan. Now my net worth would have been positive because now two massive loans have been paid off. So I don't owe money to anybody, right? And over a period of time, in this period, my kids would have grown up and so on and so forth. And if they do extremely well and they decide to go abroad to study, right? What happens to you then? Typically, most people don't have 4, 5, 6 crores lying in the bank to pay for their kids' education abroad. They don't have it. So what are we going to do? We're either going to take an education loan ourselves and repeat the story that we've been playing out for several years, go to office, come back home because we need to pay that education loan, or we will pass it down to our next generation and tell them that, listen, I am taking this loan, right? Or, I will help you get an education loan, but you need to repay this the moment you get out of college. Good news is, for 4 years that you're in college, you don't have to repay it. But the day you leave college, you will have to start repaying it. Now, what do you think is the typical mindset of a child who goes through college knowing that there is this massive burden sitting on my head, which I have to start repaying? What do you think happens to the mindset or psyche of a child? Because that person is a child. When you go to college, you're what, 18 years old? 18 years old is a child, basically. They're just growing up. They're getting into adulthood. Technically, you may classify them as adults, but they're not adults. They haven't seen life. Life is just starting for them. Correct? So what happens? The person finishes college with one thought in the back of his or her mind, that I need to somehow figure out a way to find the highest paying job for myself. Because before their career has even begun, there is a massive burden, financial burden sitting on their heads waiting for them. Correct? So somebody studies engineering, then goes and does an MBA in finance. What is the connection? Little or no connection, correct? And then campus placement, some big company comes, gives them a job in operations. They will forget engineering, they will forget finance, they will go take it. Somebody says, oh, I think you'll do really well in marketing. This is what we can offer. Okay, let's do it. Why? Because it's, typically people are not, in most cases, people are not doing what they're passionate about. Most people are not doing what they're passionate about. Most people are doing what they're doing because they don't have a choice. There is no choice. If not this, then what? Who's going to pay the bills? Who's going to feed the family? Who's going to raise the kids? How will that happen? That's the typical story of a person. Correct? And the cycle would have continued. Again, net worth positive, negative, positive, negative, month after month after month. And one day game is over, right? Now, just give me one moment because I need to. Some whiteboarding is happening. One moment. Yeah. So let's look at what are the options then, right? Yes, we understood the background. We are looking at the story of an average guy. Let's quickly understand what are the options that the person has, right? Option A, let's say you don't pick up a job. Somebody decides to start a conventional traditional business. Okay. Let's look at the realities. Now, let's say your business is generating, right, a profit of 1 lakh rupees a month after tax, which is 12 lakh rupees a year. Before tax, average about 15 lakh rupees per year. So 15 lakh rupees of profit before tax is what this person is earning. Good for a new business. It's very good, right? What is the kind of turnover this person will have to do? Let's assume an amazing 25% margin also, right? 25% margin also. That means that this business is generating a turnover of 60 lakh rupees per year. Now, if there are any businessmen who here, they will tell you that a business so early in its life, if it's generating 60 lakh rupees of turnover, will not be making 15 lakh rupees of profit. 25% margin is unbelievable. You're a rock star. You're God, literally, particularly at the early stages. Of course, this is very industry centric and it depends. But this is you will be a top performer in your own age. You can pat yourself in the back if you're doing this. Now, for a business to generate a turnover of say 60 lakh rupees, what is the kind of investment you would need? Anywhere between 15 to 20 lakhs. Itna to kahin nahi gaya. Correct? 15-20 lakh to kahin bhi lag jayega. And we will understand how, right? Where is this money going? What is the kind of rotation you'll be able to do? Maybe maximum 4 times a year. Rotation means that whatever money you put into the business, you have earned it back and now you can reinvest it in the business, for working capital or whatever, or expansion or whatever. 4 is also amazing. So I'm taking a very good scenario of a business over here, that your business is doing really, really well. Every single thing is working out for you. So let's understand, what does it take to set up a business? Because everybody says, I want to set up a business, but most people don't think about this in great detail because they only see the outside of, how businesses, etc. are run. Let's understand what it requires, right? The first thing, right, is you need an idea and a vision. Correct. Without an idea, without a vision, how does anybody start a business? You can't. So while everybody wants to do a business, most people don't have an idea. They lack it. They don't know. Kuch to karna hai. Kya karna hai? Pata nahi. I was like that myself. I knew I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what to do because there was no idea. There was no vision of a business. There was, yes, I had started to think of a vision of my life, but there was never any thought of a vision for my business. So how many people have an idea or a vision? Second thing you need is capital, because you need money to start a business. Any business you start will require money, correct? And if you think that, you could start a business just like that without money, I mean, I don't know what kind of business you would be able to run, first of all, and what it would pay you back, right? So capital, how many of us have the ability to raise funds? So let's say if we want to start a business, we have an idea, right? How many of us have that kind of money, 15, 20 lakhs sitting in the bank, which we can just withdraw like that and set up a business? How many of us have created investments that we are ready to liquidate to fund our vision or to fund that idea? How many of us have the capability to raise funds where we can go to our family, we can go to our relatives and say, listen, I have this crazy idea. I need 15 to 20 lakh rupees. How many of us will be able to do that? How many of us will be able to go to a bank and take a business loan? Because to take a business loan, you got to sell the idea to them, right? How many of us can do that? It's very important to ask these questions, right? Because if we are truly serious, right, self-assessment is very important. Because one may think that, oh, I can do another business. Very good if you can. But let's get a slightly better picture of what it really takes to be able to do that. And then ask ourselves, can we or can we not? Okay. Most people don't have access to capital. Then what are you going to do? You will set up a company. You will have a name. You'll go to the registrar of companies. You'll do a registration. You'll get a PAN card. You'll get a GST, etc., all that, compliance and all. Then you will have to set up a small office. So if you set up a small office, you'll have to hire a peon and all, somebody who will at least a peon, somebody who will come, who will open your office every morning, who will clean it for you, right? There will be some, basic infrastructure that you would need, correct? Basic infrastructure means what? You can't have an empty office, right? You will have tables, you will have chairs, you will have basic IT equipment like laptops, you'll have a Wi-Fi connection, you will have to have a printer and so on. All those basic, office expenses, etc. You will have to incur. Your office has to look a certain way, right? You will do fit outs, etc. You will have to have signage. Costs money, right? This doesn't come for free, right? Then one of the most challenging things for any business owner, right? The skills and expertise. Where are we going to get that from? Right? Today, if we were to start a business in a field that is not ours, where we don't have any background, where we don't have experience, where are we going to get the skill from? Where is it going to come from? Do we have it? Right? Do we have the expertise available to us? That, okay, these are the things that I need, right? Or this is the kind of knowledge that I need? Is it available? Where is it going to come from? Will we have the ability to attract the right talent? Because if we think that we're going to set up a business tomorrow and day after tomorrow, I'll get an HR guy, I'll get a finance guy, I'll get an accounts guy, I'll get a sales guy, I'll get an operations guy. I mean, let's think again. Is it that simple? One of the biggest challenges in the life of a business owner is attrition. You hire a person, you train that person, 1 year later, your competition comes, offers him a 20% hike, he's gone. This is one of the biggest challenges that any business owner faces, right? And forget training somebody else. Do we have all of this? First of all, it's important to ask that, right? So it's not that simple to just set up a business. While we may say we want to, but it's not that simple. And let's understand what are the realities of a business. What I was just talking about, talent acquisition and retention. You think you'll be able to go and get the people from the top MBA colleges to work for you? Forget top MBA, tier 2, tier 3. If you have a new business and you want to hire good people, because you need good people everywhere, right? What do you have that a person who has certain number of years experience will leave that job and come and join you? What do you have? Why will that person do it? Right? So will we have the ability to acquire the right talent? Number one, will we have the ability to retain that talent? Correct? Because a lot of people start businesses. Here I hear people talk about it in QNET, right? I will not be able to talk to people. If you want to do a business and you're saying I will not be able to talk to people, how will you do a traditional business? You'll have to talk to people more over there with nobody to guide you, nobody to teach you. Correct? Do you have understanding of things like ARAP, receivables, payables? Do we have the accounting knowledge, the basic accounting knowledge to be able to keep track of all of this? Accounts receivables is the money that you have to receive as a business owner. Account payable is the money that you have to pay to people. You have your vendors, right? You have to pay for your phone bill. You have to pay for your Wi-Fi bill. You have to pay for the guy who comes and delivers water to your office, right? You have all these suppliers, vendors. You have the stationery guy. You have the IT guy. You have AMCs, etc. Do we have an understanding to be able to track all of this? Or are we going to hire somebody? Simplest thing to do is hire, right? Leverage. Correct? But why would somebody even join you? Important to think about these things, right? Is there a support system in place? Do we have a mentor? When I say support system, where are we learning from? Who's teaching us, right? Who do I go to? When I have a question, who do I go to? Is there somebody to help me out? Is there a person who has many years of experience in that sector who's guiding me? I can pick up the phone and say, main thoda atak gaya usme. I'm not able to figure out a way out. Can you help me out? How many of us have that kind of expertise or a support system available to us? Right? In a traditional business, if you are a first-time entrepreneur, if you've just started a business, most of your learning happens through hit and trial. Because there is no mentor, there is nobody guiding you, telling you turn left, turn right, go straight, slow down, speed breaker ahead, speed up now. There's nobody to tell us that, right? So we are figuring things out on our own all the time. So all our learning is experiential, which means that I will try this. If it works, chalo, now I know that this works. If it doesn't work, I know that this doesn't work. But in businesses, right, when you do hit and trial, all your learnings, all your mistakes come at a financial loss. There is a cost that you bear. It could be opportunity cost. It could be actual money going out of the bank because you were going in this direction. You were funding, whatever effort that you were doing to go in that direction. Now you realize I hit a dead end. Hum to galat aa gaye. Back then I had to turn left, but I took a wrong turn and now I'm here. Whatever money you spent is gone. It's a sunk cost. Right? So typically mistakes have a price. At what time, at what point are we going to hit that elusive point of break even or profitability? Because every business has a gestation period, It could be 6 months, it could be 1 year, it could be 1 month, it could be 5 years, it could be 10 years. They all have different gestation periods depending on the nature of the business as well. No business gives you profit from day one. Let's get very, very real. Okay. Let's get very real. No business goal generates profit like that. Okay. Most businesses will keep bleeding money year after year after year after year after year. Bleeding money, literally. If you look at some of the largest organizations, right, they did not become profitable till 10, 15 years of inception, but they were growing because they had funding. How many of us have the capability to be able to do that? And in any typical business, even if you're not bleeding money, whatever money you're earning goes back into the business. Do you think it goes into your pocket? It doesn't go into the pocket, because if your business starts to do well, you need more money to make it run faster. Where will that money come from? That money, obviously, that's working capital, right? The first goal of any business is to be able to pay for itself. That's the first goal for any business. The second is for it to be able to pay for the growth. Okay, now you want to venture into another city, let's open an office. Where's the money going to come from? Right? Now, to increase my sales, to increase my turnover, I have to increase sales, right? For me to increase sales, I need more feet on the ground, which means I have to hire more people. Where is the money going to come from to pay them salary? Where is this going to come from? Once you have done that, then comes profit. So you are usually, as a business owner, you're last in line. You're last in line. Profit is not that simple. Okay. How many businesses are scalable? As the example I just gave you, right? Is it possible for businesses to just open a new branch here, new branch there? Now my business has started to do well in South Delhi. Let me open something in West Delhi. Is it that simple? Let me go to Gurgaon. Now, a different state, right? What do I need to do from a compliance standpoint? Correct? Any new registrations to be taken? If I'm going to set up another office, what are the permissions I need? It costs money. Businesses are not that scalable. Most businesses cannot just, you can't just expand across the globe like that. It doesn't work like that, right? What is the risk versus return that we are looking at in a conventional traditional business? When I say risk versus return, I basically mean that what is the kind of risk that you're putting yourself into versus the kind of return that you could get? Does it, I mean, if you work out the math, it's a scary story. And most businesses, like we talked about very early, will remain person-centric. If you're a business owner, let's say you do 100 crores of turnover, go on a 3-month holiday. Let's see how well your business runs. Okay. Most business owners cannot detach from their business, because they realize that if I'm not there, if I don't have a grip on every single thing, I don't know what's going to happen in my absence. Right? Most businesses, that's the reality. Right? That's they go an entire lifetime like that. Correct? If today you start a business, you are probably in a job or already doing another business. Will you be able to take out the time to start a traditional business? Will your current employment or the work scenario that you're in, your current job, will it give you the flexibility to be able to do that? You open an office tomorrow, but can you go and sit in that office? Is it possible? Possible? Because if you're sitting in the office, who's going to the job? Where is your money going to come from? Where is your salary going to come from? What are the kind of timings that you'll be able to keep? Because your job requires to be in office at 9 with no specified time when you will leave. So when is the time to do a business? You think you can set up a business that gives you 60 lakhs turnover on a weekend, Saturday and Sunday? You think it'll be possible? Right? And once you have started, is it possible to quit? If you put in 15 to 20 lakh rupees of your hard-earned money, or if you borrowed it from a financial institute or a family, do you think you can quit? Is it possible to just pack your bags and say, yaar, nahi ho raha, yaar, chodo, band karo isko. Wapas naukri mein chalte hain. Can you? Does one have that flexibility? And a very important question, right? After you, who? Who will take that over? And this is again something that a lot of us end up doing, right? Whether our next generation wants to or not, we will pass it on to them. Because if not, after me, who? मैंने किसके लिए बनाया है? वो कहता है मुझे तो फोटोग्राफर बनना था, मुझे ये करना ही नहीं है. What are the choices? What are the options that we have? Are we basically repeating the same story? We are, in a sense, forcing our next generation to do what we did, because अब तो कर दिया ना, क्या करेंगे इसका? instead of letting them follow their dreams and their passion, right? At the end of the day, right, what's the guarantee that it'll work? Correct? We could lose everything in 1 year, right? Everything can get wiped out in a year. I have some very close friends who were running very successful businesses who got hammered in COVID. They came, I mean, this friend of mine runs a very successful franchise in Gurgaon. And when he opened the franchise, he had to spend about 1 crore, right? And about over a 3-year period, he made very good money. He had, I mean, luckily, touchwood, he had a profitable business. And 1 year after COVID, we were talking, he said, whatever I earned, I lost it all in COVID. Jitna maine kamaya tha, wo sara chala gaya COVID ke andar. In fact, he was in the negative after COVID. Anything can happen at any point in time, right? You have salaries to pay, you have fixed costs, don't go away. Na? They don't go away. What did banks do after the government forced them? Gave us a moratorium, but we're paying interest on interest. Na? Nothing comes free in life. And even in good times, ask any business owner, is it easy to get money from customers? Can you just, send an invoice with a payment term of whatever, net 15, net 30, net 45 and expect to get your money on time? Does it happen? How many phone calls does one have to make? How much pressure does one have to put? How many stories does one have to make just to get your own money for the product you sold or the service that you provided? Is it that simple? When GST was rolled out, how many small businesses suffered so badly, right? Anything can happen. There are things beyond our control that have a direct impact on our lives on a day-to-day basis. Macroeconomic situations can change. Political environment can change that can directly impact our business, right? And like I said earlier, any other business where you don't have this kind of investment will have negligible potential, maybe 20, 30,000 bucks a month. That's not a business. That's some extra shopping money, maybe. That's not a business. So one needs to understand, what does it really take to set up a traditional conventional business? How does it happen, right? Let's understand option B over here, right? What is option B? Which is QNET, okay? Now, if I take the same figure, so I had assumed a good case scenario in a traditional business, option B, same scenario, but through QNET, right? Let's say you were to earn a profit of 15 lakh rupees per year, pre-tax. Same scenario, okay? You see, the comparison is the same. Turnover, not applicable to us because we don't focus on turnover, right? There is no concept. Is there an investment? There is zero investment. If any of you think you invested money, you're wrong. You bought a product or a service. It was a fixed expense that you incurred. It was not an investment where you will expect a return, right? So you spent money to buy something. You didn't invest anything, financially at least. Concept of rotation means, somebody was asking on the chat as well, rotation means the money that you earn, right, from the money that you put into a business to run it, you earned it back from the business. So if your quarterly expenditure was 15 lakh rupees, you earned and received 15 lakh rupees from your businesses, from the customers as well. So now you have that money to deploy again. You don't have to go to your bank account and put money. That's what rotation essentially means. Is there a concept of rotation over here? No. Right? Now let's understand what it takes to set up a business in QNET that you all have done already. You need goals, right? Your own personal life goals, something that most people would have never spoken to us about. Correct? Something that we have never focused on in, most of our lives. Second thing you need to do is you need to buy a product or a service, right? Third thing, you need a Wi-Fi and a laptop at home. This is something that we all have anyway. Yes or no? We all have a phone. Everybody has a phone these days. We all have Wi-Fi at home, correct? And We all have laptops. If not, what is the cost of acquiring a laptop these days? It's negligible. So this is essentially all that you need to set up a business in QNET. All that you need. You don't need an office space. You don't need to attract the talent in terms of, hey, listen, you're good in HR, why don't you come? You're good in finance, why don't you come, etc. None of that is required. And let's look at what are the realities of QNET. Okay. If you want to start business in QNET, right? To start with, to begin, 10 hours a week, dedicated, okay, without any distractions, where 100% you're focused on what you need to do, is good to start, right? Skill acquisition, right? Whatever skill acquisition that we're talking about will be taught to you. You can be anybody from any background at any age group. It does not matter. Whatever skill you need to be able to do the business can come to you. You will acquire it. The knowledge that you need to build the business, you will acquire that knowledge, right? The skills that you need, if you are, let's say, oh, I can't talk to people, I can't do this, I can't do that, you will learn it. You will actually learn those skills that you need, right? Because there is a fabulous support system in the business. And that support system is designed to ensure collective growth. It is designed to focus on every single individual that comes on board saying that I have a dream and I want to achieve that dream. The focus is to train them, to build them, to help them achieve everything that they've ever wanted to. There is such a strong concept of mentorship over here. Do you know how many people are invested in your growth? Not just your referrer. There are people that are invested in your referrer who are now indirectly invested in you as well. There is an entire system out there waiting to help you become successful, who's there to guide you at every step of the way, who can tell you. It's like a giraffe, right? Lion may be the king of the jungle, right? But giraffe can see. You may be a lion, but you still need a giraffe to tell you there's a storm coming. You still need a giraffe to tell you that there is somebody sitting there behind those bushes who's got a rifle aimed at your head. You need a giraffe to tell you, right? Because a giraffe can see far. That entire support system, that mentor is that giraffe for you. They will tell you, listen, slow down. Okay, now pick up the pace. Turn left, a little left, huh? Not too much, right? Because there is a cliff, there is a high, you might fall in that. Now turn right again. There is somebody every step of the way holding your hand to ensure your success. There is no concept of hit and trial at all. Because everything we need to learn in terms of how to do the business, when to do the business, why to do the business, every single thing, there is a tried and tested system and process. So do you know that our industry is also known as micro-franchising? Why is it known as micro-franchising? Because it is built on the same principles of franchising. So today, when you go to a franchise, any franchise, think of McDonald's, Burger King, Pizza Hut, Domino's, Gitanjali Salon, Nirula's, whatever, right? Any franchise. Why is it that you have a uniform experience? It is the same experience. A Gitanjali Salon in Gurgaon looks the same as the one in Noida. It'll look the same as the one in Bombay. Why? Because there is complete standardization. So there is a tried and tested system that has been deployed. You go to a McDonald's, how do they all look the same? How? Because that's the beauty of franchising. It's a ready-made system. All you have to do is come and adopt it. Our industry is the same. There is a ready-made system. All you have to do is come adopt it. So there is a question of hit and trial. Shall I try this? But what if that happens? That is what you do in option A, not in option B. Right? That's what makes it so powerful. All you have to do is just plug into the system, plug and play. That's it. What we need is that willingness to learn, right? That's all we need. Is there a concept of break even? Of course not, because there is no investment. You bought something, you've got its value immediately, right? Where is the concept of breaking even? Scalability possible? Completely possible. What is stopping you from referring this to somebody in a different city or a different country? Nothing. Because QNET as a company has delivery capability across the globe. You could have a friend in US, you could refer the portal to them. They could come on board this journey with you. You could have somebody in Singapore. You could have somebody in Japan, UAE, Thailand, Malaysia, Europe, anywhere. And that is scalability, right? So let's say a friend of yours wants to partner with you and build a business with you. He's in Canada. Now you have access to the Canada market. Can you do that in option A? And here you're doing it without incurring even 1 rupee as expenditure. Correct? Your upline is going to, or uplines are going to be involved in every single activity. Every single thing that you do, your uplines are going to be with you, holding your hand, teaching you, trying to correct you, the potential mistakes that you will make. Because the whole idea is to learn from others' mistakes, right? What is the smart thing to do in life? Learn from others' mistakes. Why do you want to make your own? I mean, nobody, you want to still make your own mistakes, that's your choice. But there is a better option, right? Correct? At the end of the day, it is system centric. If you fall sick, will your business shut down? In QNET, will it shut down? No, because the wheels are still turning, right? That's going to continue. That's never going to change. I mean, think about it. How many self-made dollar millionaires do you know? How many? Self-made, not inherited. Self-made dollar millionaire. $1 million is about 8.3 crore rupees. And if you do, how many of them are actually interested in coaching you, in teaching you everything that they have learned? You think they have the time to do that? How many of them will actually be happy when you become bigger than them? How many? That you break their records, they'll be happy. Arey, doing so well, fantastic. This person did whatever I did in half the time and actually feel proud about it. In other businesses, does somebody sit with their family and talk about how to help somebody else in their team who's working so hard? Does it happen? If you have a good friend who's in the same business as you, but I mean, different, same industry, but he runs his own, you run your own. Will they do whatever it takes to help you become better than them? Will they? Because at the end of the day, your competition, right? Let's not forget that. Will those relatives help you? Uncle, auntie and all will help you. They're also in the same business, right? Yeah. It's a real world business school. What does real world business school mean? Whatever skills, see, typically in businesses, what all do you need, right? You need to have the skill to generate revenue. Number one, to make it profitable. Number two, you need people handling skills. You need to be able to manage people, because any business will require you to work with people, right? You need to be able to build teams. You need to be able to get people aligned to a certain vision and have them work to fulfill that vision. It may be your vision in option A, but that's what you need, right? I'm talking about option A right now, correct? These are some of the things that I'm not even getting into, how much money you need, capital, this, that, etc., jugaad, and so on and so forth. But basically, fundamentally, in any traditional business, you need these 4-5 things. How many of us have these things? That give me an idea, I will set it up tomorrow. Can we? Do we have the ability to do that? Right? That's what you need in any business in the world. Now, the beauty here is that even if you don't have it, you will learn it. How will you learn it? Just by doing the business, just by being plugged into the system, just by attending the trainings and doing whatever you learn in those trainings. You will learn what it takes to be an entrepreneur. And fundamentally, at the end of the day, that's one of the biggest things out there, right? Because once you become that person, right, you can do anything then. It's not just about QNET. You can decide, you can do anything you set your mind to, because you would have acquired those traits that are needed to be successful in the world of entrepreneurship, right? There is no question of mere baat kaun karega, because whether the whole idea is to do this so that your next generation can actually follow their heart, follow their dreams, and do what they wanted to do in life. That was the whole idea, right? So this is not something that you have to, this business is not something you have to pass on as a legacy to your next generation. Whether they want to be involved in it or not is totally fine. It's their choice. In fact, this is the platform which will enable them to pursue their dreams. because you would have built that platform, right, for them. Because the business does not require your next generation, your son, your daughter, your spouse to take it over after you. It's not required. So this question doesn't exist in our business. There is a concept of legacy, right? Nominee. At the end of the day, I love to ask people this question, right? What is your risk in this business? People say, no risk, because I bought a product. If you were to ask me, the risk is the opportunity cost of not making this business work for yourself. That is what you are losing. If this business does not work for you, imagine how much you're losing out, right? I'm sorry. Right? That's the risk, right? There is an opportunity for you to earn X. An opportunity. You are in it. You have the tools, you have the system to help you do that. But you didn't. That's the biggest risk. Because that's what brought you here, right, in the first place. Now, this is a brief, quick comparison between a traditional business and QNET. Now, a lot of us still here are probably still caught in that double mind, right? We're still thinking about option A, no, this, that, but this, but that, etc., etc. Why? Because we are logical, right, in many ways. But if I were to ask even a 10-year-old child, right, or if you have a kid who's in the age of around 10 or 11, explain option A and option B to them. Should mama and dada work for the rest of their lives for this option A and face all these realities? I won't call it challenges, but realities. Or should mama and dada take option B, where in X amount of years, this is what we'll be able to do, and this is what is available to us. We will think, but you know what that 10-year-old will say? Option B. Because whatever I'm talking to you is completely logic, not emotional. This is sheer logic. Even a kid will understand it. Okay? Now, that's the business world, right? Now, some of us have this thing of, no, jobs are better, right? Very well, if you like to believe that, nothing wrong in it. But let's just quickly try and understand the reality of a person in a job. Yeah. Now, typically, and I am being very conservative over there, very, very conservative over here. Over a 18-year period, 12 years of school, 4 years of education, college, and 2 years of post-graduation, right? Masters or whatever you want to call it. That's about 18 years of education. On a conservative side, a typical person would have spent 60 to 70 lakh rupees over this period of time. Let's assume 24 lakhs for schooling, 12 years, average 2 lakhs a year. Correct? A college will cost you what, 6 to 10 lakh rupees a year for 4 years, about 25 to 40 lakhs. Again, I'm being very conservative because we all know colleges that are far more expensive than this. Okay, and I'm talking about, let's say somebody were to get educated in India only and not going abroad, because abroad today a good college will cost you more than a crore a year. More than a crore a year, a good college. I have a few friends whose kids are studying abroad, and I'm sure most of you all already know, some of you I know here have children who are studying abroad. Ivy League colleges, etc., are even more than that. Postgraduate college. So if you want to do masters in India today, amongst the top colleges, I don't want to name any, right? But we all know, right? Their fee is about 20 to 25 lakh rupees for 2 years. And these are some of them are subsidized by the government. That's what we're talking about now in the year 2023. Some of us who have young kids, imagine what it will be when they grow up, right? So ballpark figure, of course, again, being very conservative, projects, uniform, this project, that trip, etc., etc. You can increase this figure. There is no end to it, correct? So typically a person would have spent this much on their education. Now a person who gets out of a decent college, how much money do they make today? let's say they get a decent package, 1 lakh rupees a month, which is more than decent, right? Today, more than decent for a person who's whatever, 24 years old, fresh out of B school. 1 lakh a month is very good money, correct? Now, let's understand the financial health of this person. So this person went to a good college, right? Did 4 years engineering, whatever, then did his MBA from a very, very good college, and has now come out ready to conquer the world, okay, with stars in their eyes and, big dreams, which is great. I'm not trying to ridicule any of that. That's great. And that's how most of us would have started out as well, thinking that, life is going to be whatever we thought it would be. Now, somebody who's making a salary or a CTC of 12 lakh rupees, you know what is CTC? So we all have gone to the market and bought a packet of chips, right? I don't want to take a name because I don't want to do free advertising for anybody. So let's say you go to the market, you buy a nice big packet of chips, right? That is CTC. The moment you open that packet of chips, what happens? A lot of air goes out. And what is left is your net. That's the net component. So all of you here in jobs, I can see some of you are smiling because this is the reality, right? So a CTC of 1 lakh rupees a month does not mean 1 lakh rupees is coming into my account. वो chips का packet है वो. Puss, it's gone in the air. So average, 70,000 रह गया, उसका tax वैक्स भी दे दिया, चलो जो भी bracket में आया. So net take home is only about 70,000 bucks a month. Correct? Now a person who makes a salary of 1 lakh rupees a month will not go in a two-wheeler now, with all due respect to anybody who rides a two-wheeler, but somebody making a 1 lakh, कहेगा यार मेरी तो थोड़ी standing है society में. What is he going to do? He'll buy a car. And obviously he can't buy a big car, so he'll probably buy an entry-level small car, which today costs about 6 odd lakh rupees, correct? And assume he does a whatever 15-18% down payment, correct? Has to take a loan of 5 lakh rupees. Now, typically on a 5 lakh rupee loan, car EMI, whatever interest rates are there, it will probably be about 10,000 bucks a month. That 1 lakh rupee, where did that come from for the down payment? Let's assume God gave it to. Let's be generous with this person, right? He's a very, very lucky person. First job, 1 lakh rupees a month. So God came and said, Le beta, here is 1 lakh rupees. Ja, ji le apni zindagi. So he goes and buys this car. Okay. Now what happens? From 70,000 bucks, 10,000 bucks now is going to pay his car EMI immediately. Okay. Now what happens once you buy a car? Social standing, etc., right? You can't stay in a PG and all. Na? Again, with all due respect, right? No offense to anybody staying in a PG. But this guy has done his MBA from a good college, etc. His parents have society, समाज को जवाब देना होता है, रिश्तेदार देख रहे हैं, भैया तुम गाड़ी भी चलाते हो, तो what will he do? What I also did, right? And I'm sure many of us over here did. Let's go buy a house. कुछ तो ना under construction उठा लेते हैं, basic उसमें रहना हो. But let's say this guy is extremely lucky that this ideal person that we're talking about, he's a very lucky guy. He went to a good college, studied hard, worked very hard, and has done something with his life. So he gets a fully ready to move in property, correct? For 30 lakh rupees. 2 BHK, let's say Delhi or Gurgaon, 30 lakh rupees. तो मतलब that's 30 में तो क्या ही मिलता है आजकल. I won't even talk about Bombay because Bombay will get a maybe bathroom for 30 lakh rupees, correct? Anybody living in Bombay knows, right? Now 30 lakhs, again, 15% down payment has to come from pocket. Let's say God came again and said, ले बेटा, तेरे को मैं 5 लाख और दे देता हूँ, right? Let me ease the burden on you. So he takes a home loan of 25 lakh rupees. Now, typically 25 lakh rupee home loan means EMI of about whatever, 25,000, 24,000 bucks, ballpark, if I were to look at that figure. Now he's got a nice car, a small car. He's got a decent house, correct? Nothing comes for free, right? Household expenses. सब्जी भी तो खरीदेगा, गैस का बिल भी तो भरेगा, फोन का बिल भी तो भरेगा, वाईफाई तो होगा, टीवी भी तो चलाएगा, करेक्ट? बाकी खर्चे भी तो होंगे. He'll have to hire a cook maybe. Because if he's ordering out, then he's compounding this problem. Huh? If he's going to order a meal every time he has to eat, then he's digging himself into a bigger hole than he's already in. He or she, whatever, right? So he'll have somebody who'll come to clean the house. 6-7 रुपए तो पार्ट टाइम वाले ही ले जाते हैं आजकल, करेक्ट? फिर कोई आएगा गाड़ी साफ करने वाला, 700-800 रुपए तो वही ले लेता है उससे. पेट्रोल पे भी तो खर्चा होगा, right? Car is not going to go on air, right? All of these things are going to cost money, correct? He probably have a maintenance of the apartment that he's living in also to pay. थोड़ा खर्चा वर्चा भी करेगा, बिस्तर बिस्तर खरीदेगा, सोफा खरीदेगा, चलो वो भी भगवान ने दे दिया उसको, लेट्स से सब मुफ्त में मिल गया उसको, वो सब पैसा नहीं है. Because typically what would one do? They would swipe their credit card and add another line item over here, right? But let's say that this person is very lucky. It all fell in his lap, right? So $15,000 will go like that in this day and age, right? Then recreation, I mean, he can't just, it's not like he'll come back from office and go straight home, right? Because the guy has a car, he has an apartment of his own, he will have friends, today you go to PVR, 2 people going, popcorn, ticket, etc., reclining seats, $1,000 is gone immediately. And then if you want a second round of popcorn and whatever, I mean, kya pata lagta hai? You go to a mall, $100 goes in parking itself these days. We'll go buy the occasional shirt, new trouser, new shoes, etc. What is $10,000 a month these days? What does it buy? Think about it. Car insurance every year he has to do, correct? Car maintenance he has to pay for. $10,000 is going to go in a flash. And then obviously miscellaneous expenses, correct? He'll have to go, stock up his house, basic stuff I'm talking about. I'm not even being over the top, as they say. Now, a person who has already spent this much money, he got a free wardrobe, he got free furniture in his house because God liked him and said, okay, I will give all of this to you. He got down payments for his home, for his car, right? He didn't have to spend any money on all of that. But at least he'll spend this much, right? Now, a person who's already doing this, what is the kind of saving this person has? How much money is this person saving? Are they saving at all? And if he's not even saving, what is he investing? Insurance भी तो करेगा ना अपना, बीमा कराएगा कि नहीं कराएगा? क्या investment कर रहा है वो? Is he creating a portfolio? Does he even have anything to do that? No, because this person is already struggling to make ends meet. He's just out of college and he's already struggling to make ends meet. Right? Now let's look at some of the realities of a job. Correct? Is there a guarantee? Ask people from Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and Facebook in the last 1 month. Is there something called a guarantee? There are these stories. I was reading the story on LinkedIn the other day. This woman was on a holiday with her family, her husband and her kids. You know how she found out she'd been fired from Google? She'd been a Google employee for 6-7 years, doing very well, mid-management. She got a message on LinkedIn. I don't know, some of you may have because it kind of went viral. She got a message on LinkedIn. You know why? Because her official email ID was blocked the moment she was fired. So she was trying to log into her official email ID. She realized it's not working. And logged into her personal email because she would never use her personal email, right? There she saw a message from, in how you get a notification that so-and-so has sent you a message on LinkedIn. She clicked on it, and in the LinkedIn chat, she found out she's been fired. 53,000 people fired between these 4 companies. Those 4 of the largest companies in their respective fields. Amazon, Microsoft, right? Meta, which is the owner of Facebook, and Google. People would give an arm and a leg to be able to work in these companies. 53,000 people fired within a month. What guarantee are we talking about? Does it even exist? Right? This entire education cost that we're talking about, right? So we all were educated by hard-earned money of our parents. How many of us ever think that one day can I return that money to my parents? How many of us have ever got that thought? Of course, as a parent, you would never want that. I mean, being a parent now, I would never want. I mean, I don't even expect it. But as kids, have we ever thought about it? My parents spent so much money on me. Forget repaying it. How many years will it take us to recover this cost? 70 lakh rupees my parents spent on my education. Can I recover this and put it even in my own bank account? At what stage will I reach a point in my life where I have 70 lakh rupees sitting in my account? How much time would it take to recover this? We all say that, oh, I'm starting a business, but how much time will it take for me to recover my money? But yeah, what money somebody else spent on your education, ever thought about that in a job? Or are we so swayed by that designation that is on our visiting card that we don't think about these things? How much time would it take? I don't know. I'm not even asking you to answer it, but think about it. Because this is a pertinent question. These are questions that we must ask ourselves. Right? What is the kind of working hours that we would have? What is the kind of work-life balance that we would have? Think about it. At an entry level, what is it? And God forbid, 20 years later, your senior management, what is the kind of life a person has? Just because 10 people stand up when you walk into an office and the guard salutes you, right? I mean, is that all that we look for in life? Is that what drives us? Is that what all that we aspire for? Where is the life, or is it just work? Correct? Think about that. And you will find that typically our bosses, or at least I'll speak for myself, my bosses always had more to worry about than I did. Always, by default. Some of them were fabulous bosses and they never pushed it down on me, but I could see it. They had more stress than me. They were making more money than me, of course, but they also had more stress than me. They always worked longer hours than me. They were always on weekends available to do whatever was required to be done. They were always on the job. And that's what happens once you cross a certain level. Imagine tomorrow morning, right? You go to work and you have a letter from your employer saying, we have tripled your salary. Good situation to be in. Tripled it, okay? Do you think you will have a life left after that? Do you think so? We give you 2 promotions, right? Throw out this visiting card. Here is the new one. There is a plaque outside a door. You have your own cabin. I am tripling your salary. What kind of a life do you think you'll have? How often do you think you'll be able to see your kids, be able to spend time with your family? How much? You'll be struggling to find minutes here and there. You'll be stealing it. Because when your employer pays you a lot of money, they expect a lot in return as well. वो तो कहते हैं ना निचोड़ लिया जाता है. Obviously, वो तो करेगा ही. If you are a business owner running a successful business, right, and you are paying your guy 1 crore rupees a year, what kind of expectation will you have from that person? On a Saturday, he doesn't answer your phone. What will go on in your mind? 1 crore रुपया दे रहा हूं उसको, ये मेरा phone नहीं उठा रहा. What do you think? On a Sunday, you call the person and he doesn't answer your phone, then you will expect it, you will demand it. Because in your mind, I'm paying you good money. You got to be there when I need you. If you're on a holiday, I'm sorry, too bad, yeah, but this is business related stuff. It's urgent. It needs to be addressed. Somebody's got to do it. And you're the man, right? You're my top guy. Who else will do it? Right? How do we perform so well in our jobs? Right, most of the times. Because there is a concept of negative motivation that exists. That is what drives us. What we were looking at, this financial health, whatever, what we were talking about, that's what drives us. Our bills drive us. Our commitments drive us. When I say commitments, I mean financial commitments. Our liabilities, that's what drives us. Because most people in the corporate world are living in this fear of being replaced. Uncertainty is there, right? And that uncertainty increases the higher you go. If you're somebody who has 6-7 years of experience, you can find 10 jobs. Somebody who has 35 years of experience, you think they have more options than you? No, They have less options available to them, which is why they are more nervous, right? Which is why they are a little more insecure. Why are people playing this perception management game at the workplace? Why does that happen? Because everybody is trying to ensure their relevance in a job. You may be a great performer, but if you can't manage perception, you will be replaced. It's the brutal reality. And it is that negative motivation that drives us to do whatever we need to do, that makes us pay the price every single day of our lives, to stretch almost to a breaking point. You know, statistics suggest that chances of heart attack go up by 35% on a Monday morning. 35%. Why does that happen? Because that's the reality. And how many people actually reach the top? How many people can have that growth path available to them? Like a large size organization which employs 1 lakh people, how many people are at the top? There's one. And then they have a leadership committee, which is what it goes by, which has 7-8 people. You know, you'll have your marketing head, you'll have your HR head, you'll have your sales head, you'll have a couple of other people, your CFO, obviously, CIO, etc. It's a committee of 7-8 people that are at the absolute top. And above them is one guy, and above that guy is the chairman of the organization. You know, that's how it is. So what kind of a growth path? At what point do we hit a glass ceiling? Like, people will work for 30 years in an organization and realize that I can't grow any further. There were people who joined who were below me, are now higher than me. I have hit that glass ceiling. Where will this person go after 35 years of service? Where will he go? You think the job's waiting for them? No. There is something called a glass ceiling that exists, which sooner or later, most people will hit that glass ceiling and realize that I can't grow any further. What are the kind of politics that plays out in organization? You know, in a job environment, there is crab mentality. You know what is crab mentality? You put a bunch of crabs in a large bucket. What happens? One crab will try and come out. Okay, he's trying to crawl his way out. The other crabs will pull him down and try and climb over his head. This is what we've inherited in the workplace. There is always politics, what I was talking earlier, right? There is a game of perception management that's happening. Everybody here in this screen right now who's in a job, if you have spent a certain number of years in the corporate world, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't have to sit and elaborate this. कोई किसी और की promotion खा जाता है, कोई किसी और का credit ले लेता है. You know, you did something and your boss took all the credit. You sent him a mail and he forwarded it to the entire management, and suddenly it looks like, array, all this beautiful, fantastic, amazing work was done by him. And in your mind, you're thinking, array, I'm the one who did everything. Yeah? Nobody even recognizes it. Nobody appreciates it. There are these games that are happening all the time, right? There is a need to constantly upgrade our skills in a corporate environment, because the skills that you were hired for have a certain market rate, right? But constantly new people are being added. This is another way for us to stay relevant. Chalo, let me do this certification. Let me do that certification. Let me become a Six Sigma black belt. Let me do PMP. Let me do this. Let me do that. Because there is a constant need for upgrading the skill, because we want to add more value to our organization so that they also understand and appreciate that value, and in return keep us, right, for a longer period. And also, that goes without saying, give us more money than we are making right now, right? What are the job opportunities that are there in the future? Think about it. You know, I can take a session on this point. How technology is killing jobs every single day. As we speak, technology is killing jobs. If anybody here who was born before the mid-80s, right, we all are familiar with the concept of a post office. I had to sit and explain to my 14-year-old daughter what is a post office. She could not understand the concept of that you would sit down with your hand, write a letter, fold it, put it in an envelope, put it in the, you know, those red post boxes, which all our societies, colonies had, put it there, and a postman would come, take it to a post office, and it would go be delivered by hand to a different location. She could not understand it. She could not relate to that concept. So technology, see how many jobs technology killed. When I was a kid, I used to go to a bank branch. Bank branches typically were large, right? Big places, massive staff. Today, our phone banking app or the call center that we can call to or net banking has made so many of those people redundant. They're not required anymore. Why does a person go to a bank anymore? You don't need to. Most people don't need to go to a bank. How many jobs did that app on your phone, how many jobs has it killed? Think about it. When I was a kid, I would walk into an aircraft. There were 3 people sitting in the cockpit. There was a pilot, there was a co-pilot, and there was a flight engineer. The entire profession of a flight engineer is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. So somebody studied an entire lifetime for a particular profession. By the time he reached that point, a computer does what that person used to do. It does not need it anymore. We're talking about driverless cars, right? There are many companies who are invested heavily in that. We're talking about driverless cabs at a point in time. Amazon has stores in the US where there is not a single human being. Are you aware of that? There is only one security guard who's outside. Through RFID, you have a topped up card, right? You have a special card. As you take things from the shelf, put it in your basket, the RFID technology is deducting that money from your card. And when you reach the exit, if there is more money in the card than what you have taken, the door opens. If not, the door does not open till you remove stuff and put it back on the shelf. This is happening real time as we speak. IBM created a tool called Watson, which gives legal advice. Do you know basic legal advice? You don't even, in the US, you don't even need to pick up the phone, call a lawyer. Of course, to appear in front of a judge, you would need to. Technology, artificial intelligence. 40% of cars are today made by robots. They don't get COVID, they don't need sick leave, they don't get married, they don't have to go on a honeymoon, they don't have children, right? They don't fall sick, they don't need a raise. 40% of cars, more than 40% are manufactured by robots, right? We have robotic surgery these days. You don't think this is killing jobs? Think about it. The lower end, right? Technology has started to replace it. So what are the job opportunities that are going to exist in the future? One needs to think about this. Are we preparing, right, ourselves? Are we preparing ourselves for jobs of future? Is our next generation learning? So what are the opportunities that are going to exist, right? Now you may have become CEO of an organization doing extremely well, right? When your next generation comes and joins that company, can you pass it on as a legacy? Oh, I am the CEO, right? But now let my kid is just fresh out of college. Let me make him or her the CEO. Does it work like that? No. Where will that person start? Right at the bottom. Right at the bottom. There is a concept of incremental growth that happens in jobs. Right? 10, 12%. On the odd occasion, you might change the job. You might get 25, 30%. Or you may get a salary correction, right? Your salary was low, you joined a company, they say that, okay, this is the slab that we would pay for somebody with your experience. So, which means a 30% hike, now you're at par. Next year, will you again get a 30% hike? No, you will not. Depending on many factors, you could get anywhere between single to early double digits. But what about inflation? Do we remember that? 10% increase is not 10% increase in money, right? 10% increment is not 10% increase in money. 6.5% is inflation. What is left? Take out income tax from that. What are you left with? What are you left with? So today, if you make 1 lakh rupees a month and you get a 10% increment, that's 1,10,000 rupees, right? But that increment will come next year. Out of 10,000, 6,500 odd is inflation. The value has gone down. Remove income tax, you're talking about some 2,000 rupees a month. That is what we have increased in terms of our income. That's called incremental growth. How many people are actually able to live a good life and create a corpus? Most people that create a corpus do it because they compromise on 20 other things. They compromise on their own lifestyle, on their own needs that they want, on their own dreams. No, I cannot do this, right? Let's go for something smaller. Why? Because we have to save money for our child's education, right? It's a compromise. No, we can't spend over here. We can't do 2 dinners in a month. Let's do only one. Why? Because we have to save money, right? For our kids, this or that, right? Daughter's marriage, whatever. That's the thought process that we live with. And let's say that we did well, correct? We created a corpus. Your kid got through his or her hard work, got into an engineering college, and you're paying a lot of money. Let's say your kid goes abroad, right? 2 years they work. Third year they come and tell you, I've been thinking a lot about it. I don't think I'm cut out for engineering. I think I want to be a lawyer. Or worse, I want to be an artist. Think about it. Can we fund their dreams? Can we? Last year of engineering, they say I'm dropping out because I've realized my passion is somewhere else and I really found something. How many of us will have the courage or the financial strength? We may even have the courage, but the financial strength to be able to allow them to pursue that. Can we fund their dreams? Can we give them a life of choices? Because that's what happens, right? Marriage, lifestyle, kids' expenses, this, that. What are we really left with at the end of the day? And are we really giving or able to give them that platform that we've always dreamt of giving them? See, everybody wants the best for their kids, right? Everybody does. But how many of us will actually be able to make that a reality without compromising? So that's the typical story of a person who's doing well in a job, right? Now let's look at some of the professionals out there. Chartered accountants, doctors, lawyers, and so on. First of all, is it easy to get these? Is it easy to become a chartered accountant? Is it easy to become a doctor? Is it that simple to become a lawyer or a company secretary or whatever professional, degrees that people go out, get for themselves? Is it easy? First of all, it's not, right? And in many ways, it is like a job, right? You may be your own boss. I understand, right? But try not going to work. You're a fabulous doctor, wonderful. You have a big fancy clinic. Don't open your clinic for a week. Will you make money? No, you will not. So how are you any different from that doctor who's going to a hospital on a salary? How are you different? He can't take a day off without income taking a hit. You can't take a day off without income taking a hit. What's the difference? It's person-centric, right? Can you fall sick? Can you go on a 3-month holiday? You may be your own boss, but can you do it? You can't. You got to keep running as fast as an employee is running. So not much of a difference over here that we're talking about. And here also there is a need for constant skill upgradation because aapke jaise 1000 aur hain. What differentiates you from the other? Right? One needs to think about that, right? There is a need to constantly upgrade our skills. Will that happen overnight? It won't. You're a fabulous surgeon. You slipped in the bathroom and cracked your thumb. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do? You twisted an ankle. Can you sit and operate? You can't. You're playing with your kid. Something went into your eye, a sharp object. You hurt your eye. Can you go and do a surgery? Can you? You cannot. So the life of a professional is not that simple. We all like to hide under this statement that I am my own boss, right? But even here, your income is completely dependent on you. Let's understand that. You may be your own boss, but if your income is completely, solely, 100% dependent on your presence, how are you different from an employee? How? You don't have to call somebody sir. You'll have to call your customer sir, right? Because customer is king, right? In any profession, any business that you may be in. So how is it any different? In terms of how we make money, it's more or less the same only. What's the difference? right? Now, let's say you do very well as a professional, okay? In the next 5 years, 15% increment, that 12 lakhs had become 20 lakhs, 15% increment, correct? The value of that 20 lakhs is actually 15 lakhs. If you adjust for inflation, 6% inflation, that 20 lakhs may be 20 lakhs in the bank, but the value of that 20 lakhs is actually what 15 lakh rupees is today. Are you following? We don't look at this. Now let's quickly understand the reality of somebody who's started QNET. Current income, zero, because today you just started. Are you making any money? No, you're not making money, right? Let's look at the realities of QNET. Can be done with a job. We talked about the time commitment earlier. Because everybody that starts this business, at least most people, they are either in a job or in a business of their own, or they are self-employed, which means that the nature of the business is such that it allows you to focus time, part-time. It allows you to start this business part-time. When I'm saying part-time, please don't confuse it with spare time. There is a very big difference between part-time and spare time. Part-time means I have done whatever I had to do. I've gone to work. I've done what I had to do. Now, whatever time is left, I'm devoting that to build a business. That is called part-time. Spare time is, you know what? I've done that. I had to go on a long drive. I've done that also. You know, nice weather, so I decided to go on a drive. Then I had to meet with my friends. I had to play cricket. And then we decided to go for a movie. We had fun. We had popcorn. We did this. We did that. And, you know, then I was catching up with my friends, my relatives, etc. Now I have some time left. Now I will do QNET. That's called doing it spare time. So I'm not talking about spare time. I'm talking about part time. All right. Can be done with the job. We here are the beneficiary of other people's mistakes. Right. I've talked a lot about this because there are people before us who started before us who are successful today and who became successful because they also adopted the learnings from the people before them, learn from their mistakes, and the process is only getting stronger and stronger over a period of time. Because whatever mistakes my appliance made, they work to ensure that I don't make the same mistake. So I'm a beneficiary of their mistakes. There is no insecurity here. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Here we are working very hard to ensure the success of the other person. There is no ego in that sense here. Because when you understand the business, you will realize it's not like the corporate world where I am more important than everybody else. My team, I have to be the best. Or if I'm self-employed, I have to be the best. I will not allow somebody to become better than me. In our business, it's the exact opposite. Believe me, 10 years from now, right? If you built a large organization here, and if you are the best at what you do, you've gone wrong somewhere. Big time. Big time. Somewhere you didn't understand, you lost the plot. But 10 years from now, you have a large organization and you have people that are far better at you than practically everything, you arrived in life. Because how will you ever step away from this if you are the best at everything? So there is no concept of insecurity. The objective is to ensure that people become better than you. Like you speak to any of these successful entrepreneurs, if you don't speak to them, you hear from them. What is one thing common about everybody that they say? Surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. Always. Now, you may not have people smarter than you when we talk about this business because there's no measure. I mean, one can't measure that, right? Particularly given the nature of our business. But at least you can surround yourself by people who have become better than you. And the only way to do that is to not have that insecurity. In fact, make that an objective, make that the end game. There is no prior education that you require to be successful over here. You don't need to have acquired a degree or any of that, right? The only education that you need is post sign up. Once you've signed up, yes, you need to be educated. Because you will not succeed in this business if you don't go through the motions of learning, development, training, systems, knowledge, skill, books, videos, etc., etc. Without that, you cannot succeed. So the only education you need, the learning, is what is coming to you now, right? From now onwards. You will follow successful people 100%. Successful people who have a vested interest in your own success. And these are people who have walked the talk. These are people who have done whatever they're talking about, right? These are not people who have theoretical knowledge. These are people who have practical knowledge, who have faced challenges, who have faced difficulties, who have fallen down flat on their face, but still gotten up and continue to move forward. These are those people, right? What will you have to do? You'll have to compromise somewhere, maybe on your sleep, maybe on your entertainment a bit, right? Maybe you can't go out and watch the way you used to watch movies and hang out with your friends. Yes, you will have to, because where will that time come from? Where will that time come from that you need to devote to the business? It's going to come from there only. No? You can't suddenly start leaving office 2 hours in advance, can you? Because in a week or so, they'll tell you, okay, aao hi mat yaar. You can stay out. There's no need for you to show up. You can't. So where will that time come from? It will come from everything else, right? Like what we were saying, not spare time, but part time. But the reasons why we started the business, are they important enough for us to sacrifice a bit on our sleep? Are they important enough for us to sacrifice a bit on the general hanging out and chit chat we used to do and time pass we used to do? We even call it time pass, right? Time pass. Is it too big a price to pay? One needs to think about that, right? What else do you need? The hunger to succeed. The people who are successful, who go the distance, are the ones who have the hunger to succeed, who want success, right? Who have that dream, who have that goal, who are willing to do whatever it takes to be able to achieve it. The others will fall off the bandwagon, right? Like a train starts from the source to the destination, so many passengers drop off, right? The ones that stay are the ones that want to reach that destination, right? They're not people who are willing to fall out. You will see enormous personal growth. Enormous personal growth. What do I mean by personal growth? The kind of person that you will become. See, money in the business becomes a byproduct, right? The legacy that you will leave behind for your next generation is not the money. It's the mindset that you will give to them. It's the mindset of a leader. It's the mindset of a person who never gives up, who's willing to do whatever it takes to achieve their goal, achieve their dreams, who's willing to pay the price, who's willing to sacrifice, who's willing to be disciplined, who's willing to be consistent, who has a vision, who has a thought. That's the person, that's the legacy that you will pass on to your next generation. There will be delayed gratification. You know, salary is the drug they give us to forget our dreams. We're talking about delayed gratification. In a job environment, or if you're self-employed, there is instant gratification. So I go to work every month, and at the end of the month, or rather at the beginning of the next month, I get a certain salary. Instant gratification. So I'm used to that. In the business, one has to, and in any business, not just in our business. In fact, in our business, that delayed gratification is not so delayed. In traditional businesses, that delayed gratification is very delayed, and it comes at a big price. So the effort I'm putting in today is going to reap benefits one day. You got to be a farmer. So tomorrow you sow a seed. Will you see a plant day after tomorrow? No, there is a process. You have to water it, fertilizer, this, that, sunshine. You have to take care of it. You have to nurture it. And one day you start seeing it grow. That's how entrepreneurs think. We have to be, in our mind, make that adjustment. Every single thing that I do in the business today, be it in terms of attending a training, be it in terms of reading a book that I'm supposed to read, be it in terms of how I'm connected with the system, how am I following the activities that I'm doing, revenue generating activities, knowledge building activities, skill building activities, every single minute that I spend here is going to give me a result of one day. Not tomorrow, not on the 7th of every month, not on the 1st of every month, or whatever we're used to in our jobs, but yes, it will. That's delayed gratification, right? What will we need? Patience, hard work, and discipline. Something that you need in any walk of life to be successful. Any walk of life, right? So somebody wanted to study hard to join the, to take the UPSC. They want to become an IAS officer. Will it happen overnight? No. You will have to have patience. You will have to do a lot of hard work, and you will have to have discipline. You will cut out all the noise You will cut out all the distractions and you will focus 100% on the job, day after day, night after night. That's your single-minded focus, right? It's the same here as well. Now, in the next 5 years, you have an opportunity, and I'm being careful with my words when I'm saying you have an opportunity to build a business that could potentially pay you 8 lakh rupees a week or about 4.2 crore rupees a year. And I'm only talking about Gold Star Max Out. Only Gold Star Max Out. I'm not even getting into Sapphire, Platinum, Diamond, Blue Diamond. I don't want to overawe you with numbers. I'm only talking simple Gold Star Max Out. Yeah. That's the opportunity that's there. That's what you're sitting on. Can our current job or profession, even on paper, give us this? We need to ask ourselves that question as well, right? Even on paper, whether it becomes a reality or not is for later, right? But is there even a possibility? In the business, there is a definite possibility, provided we do what we need to do at our end, right? We work hard, we do every single thing that we're supposed to. You think you'd be worried about inflation? 6%, 7%. अरे आटे का भाव बढ़ गया, अंडा अब इतना महंगा आता है, आलू प्याज बढ़ गया, फर्क पड़ेगा क्या? Will it matter? You won't even spend half a minute thinking about these things, right? Ask that same 10-year-old kid who we asked at the end of the last slide, should daddy and mummy spend the next 40 years of their lives, go to office, come back home, right? Compromising on many things to be able to give you a platform to succeed in life or to be able to give you a comfortable life. But yes, it'll come at a price. You may not see us for most weekends. On weekdays, we'll probably reach home when you're already tucked in bed and ready to go to sleep. In the morning, we'll probably leave before you've woken up, right? Our holidays are going to be very tight, correct? We will have to think twice before doing many things. Or should we work on an opportunity where at zero risk, there is a potential for us to live a financially free life, which I can start with my job. I don't have to fear making mistakes. Somebody is there to guide me every step of the way. And that somebody wants me to become better than them. We will analyze what that kid will say. Let's go for it. Yeah. Now, before I end, we're almost done. Before I end, there's this visual I want you to look at, right? So if you were to think, right, on the left is the day you're born. On the right is the day we meet our maker, right? Our end date. If I were to ask you all, where are you? I will get different answers, right? Ask yourselves, where are you? A lot of people will say, I'm in the middle. Correct? Some of our friends here who, you know, are relatively much younger will say, "Ore, mera to abhi life shuru hi hua hai." And some of our friends here who are older will say, yeah, logically speaking, life expectancy is so much. I'm probably closer to the end than I am to the beginning. Correct? By and large, we'll get these three responses. Yeah. The question is, how would you know? How do you know? How do you know you're on the left, middle, or the right? How do you know? Yeah. We need to think about that. We don't know. Don't go by life expectancy. Life expectancy may be 70 years old. There are people that tragically pass away 5 minutes after they're born. We don't know this. You know, and let's assume, okay, one says, Arey, but I'm already 60, 65 years old, right? I'm definitely not in the middle. Probably you're right. Now, we may have 2 months or 2 years. But what about our loved ones? They may have 50, 60 years more by going by that same logic that we apply for ourselves. They may have 50, 60, 70 more years. The question is, what are we doing to ensure the safety of our loved ones? What are we doing? Right? So at some point, we need to take that decision. See, the first decision is to start the business, which is a technical decision. You just bought a product, right? You just bought a product, which you will use. The actual real decision is the decision to do the business. They're two very different things. You could have started the business, but not be doing the business. That's the real decision that we all need to take at some point in our lives. The question is, how long will we keep deferring that decision? Because if we are saying that I'm doing this for my loved ones and so on and so forth, then the question we need to ask ourselves is, are we ready to give whatever it takes to succeed? Are we ready to work hard? Are we ready to chisel out the edges, right? That exist in all of us, the rough edges. Are we ready to learn? Are we ready to implement everything that we learn? How long will we keep deferring that decision? Because we don't know how much time they have. They may have a full, beautiful life ahead that they can look forward to. What are we doing to ensure that we give them the best opportunity to live the life the way we would want them to, or give them the platform that we could give them? See, we have the best opportunity in our hands now. If you haven't realized that even till now, then I don't know what to say. It's time to wake up and start now. You know, we all wanted apple juice. We all praying to God, God, Bhagwan, kuch to de de yaar. Please, roz matha tekunga, I will do this, I will do that, God. Whoever your God may be, right? We've been praying, asking for something. We wanted apple juice, right? God has given us apples. You heard the saying, right? God helps those who help themselves. If you think a Tetra Pak will fall into your lap with a straw, it will not, right? You wanted apple juice. God has given you apples. Get a plate, get a blender or a knife or whatever it takes, wash the apples, okay, and start taking the juice out of it. Don't rubbish it by saying, but I asked God for apple juice. He's given me apple. This is apple. This is not what I asked for. Like I said, you will not get a Tetra Pak chilled to your liking. You will have to take the juice out of it. You will have to do what you need to do. What is in your control? What is in your hands? That's how anything in life is built. The opportunity knocked on the door, you opened the door, right? But how long are you going to be with that opportunity is important, and what are you going to do with it is important. So take that decision. Do the business, because it can change not just your life, previous generation, your generation, and next several generations. Right? So let's focus on that. Let's give our 100%. Now, I hope over the last 2 years, I have been able to give you a bit of a perspective and understanding. Like I was saying, sorry if I offended anyone. It wasn't intentional. Sometimes words don't come out the way you intend them to, and they can be misinterpreted. So that was not the intention at all. And no disrespect to anybody who's in a job or self-employed or in a business of their own. The idea was just to get a different perspective. Right? At the end of the day, like I said, the choices are ours. Right? And I hope that everybody here makes the best choice for themselves. And if your choice is, right, the option of QNET, then I wish you all the best. And I look forward to speak with you, meet with you in different forums and work with you, and hope that we all here achieve all the goals that we set out for ourselves. So wish you all the best and good luck in your journey. Take care, and I'll see you all soon some point. Take care. Bye-bye.